that is not as safe, like a more dangerous direction. It's actually a shorter path through the system. And so when he said 12 parsecs, he was literally saying I found a shorter route than what everybody else had to go.
Time. Yeah.
But still,
they had to retcon.
And we're starting.
I'm sorry. I thought there'd be a longer pause. I'm sorry. I thought there'd be a longer pause. I was trying to slip that in there. Trying to slip it. We've actually been streaming for about.
They were doing the kettle run, and it was all about getting the tea.
Hello, everyone.
It turns out that Jar Jar Binks is Snoke. I had no idea.
Wow, that explains everything. Jar Jar Snoke. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Space Game Junkie podcast. I, as always, am your co-host, Brian, and joining me, as always, is your co-host, Jim.
Do you want to hear my Snoke theory? That's something you're never going to hear.
Real quick.
No, there isn't one.
There isn't a quick one, or okay.
No, it's over. It's impossible. There will be no more Snoke theories.
Okay. Also joining us is your co-host, Hunter.
Ooh, man, I am ready for this.
And also joining us is your co-host, Spaz.
Hello.
It is the last podcast of 2017, my friends. This has been a very crazy year for space gaming. There were almost 40 games released. There were probably more. I probably missed a few.
There are a few released today.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Posted them earlier.
Wait, 1.0 or early access? Because I'm counting I'm counting 1.0. If we counted early access,
they released today. They just a couple this morning.
I must have missed them. Oh my god. Okay, so we're maybe roughly 40 games were released 40. And the year that was busier before that was maybe let's see. Yeah, 2015 had 38 games. And then if you go back a bit, like 1996 had 37 games. And then 1990 had 40. So it's almost a record breaker this year. Almost a record breaker. That's 1.0 games. We're not talking early access. We're talking games that were actually released. It's insane. So what I thought we'd do to wrap up the year is to do a look back. And I don't want to talk about best and worst. That's lame. That's boring. Anyone could do best and worst. And I want to do something a little more nuanced, because best and worst, it's like you're kind of choosing amongst your children, and you don't want to do that. So I tried to come up with some categories that might be a little more interesting. Sorry, hang on. So the first category I wanted to talk about was what game surprised us the most. And we're going to talk, I thought it'd be fun to do a space game and a non-space game. Oh, by the way, everyone, this is my entry for one of the most surprising games of the year. This is Starfleet Armada Rogue Adventures. It's not Rogue Adventures, is it? Or is it? Yes, it is Rogue Adventures.
It's like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, almost.
Armada Rogue Adventures.
It does sound like
chipmunks.
with a 2-minute intro like they used to do back in the day.
Oh yeah.
When cartoons had intros. But I thought we'd start with the game that surprised us the most, and we're going to talk a space game and a non-space game. So, Jim, I'm going to start with you. What would you say was your most surprising space game this year?
I'm kind of bankrupt on like anything that happened this year. My brain is just scrambled.
That's totally fair. You don't have to have if you don't have a clear answer, you don't have to have one. I'm fine.
Yeah, my focus all year has been basically, is Elite going to get its shit together?
Nope.
Probably not.
Nope.
And then trying to find a replacement for that. Because like today, Hunter and I had this discussion, right? It's like, I don't want to play Eve because Eve doesn't really do it for me.
Fair.
But I want to play something that's online where I feel a sense of progression. And really, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. for anything in that realm, right? Like I'm playing RuneScape right now. Shoot me. But it's, I mean,
there are some options out there, but we were discussing this. There, when it comes to like the progression and space MMO stuff, they're limited, and then when you do find one, what you can do in them is even like more limited.
Yeah. So okay, what's the one that we had that I can't remember the name of, where there's 3 different races? It's a guy running it on some Linux boxes, costs $1 a month.
Oh, you're talking about the Android game,
Vendetta Online.
Yeah, Vendetta Online. Honest to God, that's the one. That's the one where I feel like I'm actually doing something. It's like, to me, it's like if I could play Evercron Legacy as an MMO, I would be perfectly happy.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I resubbed that this month just because I was hankering for something similar. I got bored in an hour.
Really?
Yeah, I went back to Jumpgate. Yeah, which is weird.
Well, that's because you got the Jumpgate thing, right?
I do.
So
I do, but
to me, it's just like, it's interesting because there's actually like some trade going on between the stations. There's other players.
Oh, it's doing a lot right. It's doing a lot right. It's a great game, and more people should be playing it. It just kind of bores me. But if that's your thing, man, go. Yeah, it's great.
Well, it's basically, I wanted Elite to be what I'm doing with MechWarrior, right? It's like, I got a gang of people. I play MechWarrior with them every night. I probably got 200 hours in that thing this month. It's ridiculous. Because that's like my go-to thing. It's like, I'm bored. I look at this list of Steam games, and I'm like, I don't want to play any of this stuff. It's like, I could play that. Well, that's too grindy. Well, I could play this. Well, it's too much investment to get going. I could play that. I don't have enough time. Let's just play MechWarrior. And it has become the go-to, right? And it's because I actually have a crowd of people. I can just drop in TeamSpeak. Hey, how you doing? There's already 10 people there, and we just go. And I want Elite to be that, and it isn't. And I'm still hoping.
It probably will never be.
I don't know if Star Citizen.
It probably will never be.
Will live to be that. But it's like, as much trouble as Star Citizen has had, it's like, if it can somehow become that, great. But I'm not gonna invest.
Don't hold your breath. Do not hold your breath.
Yeah.
Do you have a non-space game that surprised you this year?
I don't know about
was it MechWarrior Online? Because you were down on that for the longest time.
Oh, I'm still down on it. It's just the only game in town. The problem with MechWarrior is the balancing that PGI does is bad, right? So what they do is they look at like the meta, right? It's like, oh, people are using Gauss rifles too much. Let's nerf those. Oh, well, now everybody's using medium lasers. Let's nerf those, right? So it's just like, and then whenever new things get introduced, of course, it's overpowered because for the first 5 or 6 months, you have to pay money to get it. So of course it's going to give you an advantage, right? And they never say, well, pay to win, right? But it's like, well, it's better until it comes over for, like you can grind for it. And then it gets rebalanced at that point. And it's like, okay. But also some of the things that they've introduced lately for money, the 2 most recent mechs, right? The Thanatos and the Hellspawn are just kind of junk. They're not good. And the reason why is because you take MechWarrior, it's about the geometry of the mech, right? So because you have 3 torsos and 2 arms to spread damage across. And if you have like the Hellspawn, right, it has this giant side torso that it's just like a house. You can't miss it. And because of that, that's going to get knocked off every time. Well, that happens to be where all the guns are. So people don't really want to drive that. It's like you're not competitive at that point. So the problem is when you're playing low rank stuff and you're having fun, that's great. Whenever I jump into a group with like 10 other people, 12 other people, you go up against another team of 10 or 12 people, and it's usually a competitive team, right? So these guys are in there like, it's like tournament players. So they're not going to just be running random stuff. They're going to be in there with their most competitive stuff. And then I just get greased, so it becomes kind of frustrating. It's just like, okay, I want to go out and just play with the pugs for a while and kind of actually kill somebody, and then I'll come back, but yeah, I'm absolutely low man on the totem pole. But if I get out of the competitive stuff and go back out into normal, it's like I'm pretty darn good. So there's a clear line that's there.
Right. Okay.
But anyway, yeah. So I wouldn't say it's a surprising game, but maybe it's surprising that I.
So I'm going to put you down for NA and NA as for most surprising game, which is fine. Which is fine if you don't have one.
Honestly, like there's been some really cool stuff come through this year.
Yeah.
But nothing actually stuck with me.
That's fair.
It's just like
there's so much. There's so much.
It's like I'll play this for an hour, play that for an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Hunter, what about you? Has there been a space game that really surprised you this year?
It's funny. I echo some similarities to Jim on some things, but at the same time, let me give you a little backstory, right? So last year, I'm pretty sure it was last year, we got the Homeworld Deserts of Karak game sometime last 2016, I believe.
Yeah.
Right? And it was on my wish list, and for my birthday, as the tradition goes, my buddy of mine gets me a Steam game every year on my birthday. And so last year, 2016, he got me that Steam game, and as a big Homeworld fan, I was super excited. I installed it, and it's been over a year now, and I feel so bad. I have yet to even begin to play it. All right. And we're talking like I was massively excited for it. So this year we had a great game that has come out. I know that it's great mainly because everybody who I agree with on gaming usually has said that it's also great, and I've seen some videos of it, but I've yet to play it yet myself, and that was Battlestar Galactica Deadlock. I want to say that those games are the games that surprised me for last year and this year, for example, but I cannot, unfortunately, because I have yet to play them. Because like Jim, there's that mode that you get in sometimes where you do test some games out and you play them for the show and you get excited for them, but really you got to move on to something else or go to your catch-all game for your leisurely activity, right? A lot of times
for the Eve talk.
Well, a lot of times for me, or like you, Jim, you have a love-hate relationship with MechWarrior and Elite, right? I have a love-hate relationship with EVE Online. And I spent a good chunk of this year actually playing that as my catch-all, and they've made some drastic and unique and cool changes this year to that game that are needed for sustaining it in the future, I think, but also just needed in general because they were needed. And
well, I think they've done some things like me. I just made a new guy today and played it. I don't know what 4 or 5 hours that I was in there.
Wow.
And it's okay. It's like the last time that I played it a year and some ago, just hated it. It was like hysterical blindness. It's like, oh my God, what is all this shit?
It's gotten a lot better for it's gotten a lot better for the new player and the PvE focused player. I feel
and I think since they went free to play with the basically to lure people in, keep the population in there. I think that they had to address that because it wasn't all like veterans anymore. And, so they actually got an influx of new people. And I think they heard a lot about like, wow, your game's impenetrable, make it friendly. And they sort of addressed it. I think the best thing is that suggestion thing, whatever that's called, that it's just
the agency.
The agency. And it's like, hey, here's 20 things you could do around. Oh, God,
I love that. I love that so much. I wish more games had that. I wish more games had that.
Yeah, so that kind of became like my catch-all game this year that I would just kind of revert to. Like, what do I want to like get invested in? I honestly also will say that the game that surprised me the most, mainly because of all the backlash that I got, was Mass Effect Andromeda. I actually, I picked that game up about a month or two after it came out for like 50% off. And, considering all the criticism, all the backlash, and I was very familiar with what the news and the media was saying about it. I'd seen some of the videos, but I decided to give it a chance anyway, just despite all that. And that game actually surprised me. It does have its flaws. It is not a perfect game because, I'll play for maybe like 4 hours on a Saturday and then it'll crash. And I guess that to me was like my cue. Well, I've played for 4 hours. Maybe I should go do something else. So that kind of became like the staple. Like I'll play this until it crashes and then I'll go, I'll come back, the next day and play some more. And I don't mean that to be a negative statement. It just kind of became like my basis for judging how long I was going to play, I guess. And so Mass Effect Andromeda really surprised me. It actually is an interesting story for me. Is the game full of flaws and stuff like that? Sure, it's got a lot of silly, animations and stuff like that to it, but like I don't allow that to affect the enjoyment that I've had elsewhere in the game. I'm willing to overlook some of its flaws in order for its inner stuff. Now sometimes a game can just be so complete shite that you're just like I can't even return this now, please, thank you. But despite some of its flaws, I was actually able to endure and enjoy it. I have yet to finish it because I put it down 2 months ago because of other just like life events. I kind of had to like take over some things, but I do plan on returning to it and finishing it. I'd say I'm probably about 75% of the way through it. It's pretty good. But other than that, I was really surprised by Eve Valkyrie's move this year. We talked before the show a little bit about Eve Valkyrie. It was one of those things where we were always like, well, why does CCP invest in something that their fan base does not have free access to? I'm specifically talking about like Dust 514 in this regard, and the fact that Eve Valkyrie initially was VR. The majority of their fan base is just PC users. That's not to say that some of those PC users also don't do console or VR, but the bulk of them play Eve on a PC. So why are you pushing your IP onto another market that has never touched your game or know anything about you?
I was really glad. I was really happy Valkyrie finally came to like regular desktop users like us because it's a great game.
And it's great, and they've put a lot of effort into it, and they've made a lot of waves with that. CCP is putting a hold on their VR stuff for now, and they've sold that stuff off, and so they're just focusing on what they've got. That doesn't mean the Eve Valkyrie stuff's going away. That's still being developed for in its own way.
It just got a big patch. It just got head tracking, which I still need to try. But yeah, it just got a big patch with a new map too. So yeah, they're still updating that one.
And playing with the lead developer on that Saturday that we did that show, that was
so fun,
incredibly fun. And it's a game that I need to return to again. I think as a first person space shooter, like in a spaceship cockpit shooter, I think of 2017, that game probably takes the cake for me as far as the enjoyment level, as far as a new space game goes. Now I know there were some others out there that came out this year, but I think for me, the objective based gameplay of it, you got to go take out that carrier, and so we're all like fighting to take out the different nodes, the different gun points, and then you got to go into the superstructure and blow up the core.
Yeah, now that they have
that was a blast having those guys on. Now I thought whenever it was like the week after they were on, right, and then it's like, oh yeah, they just laid off everybody, and I thought that those guys were the ones.
No. Thankfully not. Thankfully not.
No, the Eve Valkyrie team specifically was not.
Yeah, thankfully.
See, that's what I thought. It was like, well, Eve Valkyrie came out on PC, underperformed.
No, when they went non-VR, it actually like boosted them significantly.
Yeah, so that's why I was surprised to see that it got another patch, and I was like, wait, who's there? Well, apparently they're still there, but but it was like the rest of the VR team that got trimmed. I mean, but the Valkyrie people are still on board, so that's good.
Yeah, now that it has a spectator mode, I'm thinking maybe arrange some kind of tournament for next year with it, because that'd be like the perfect tournament game.
We tried doing like a community meetup in Elite, and as fun as that was, it was still full of problems even then. I think doing maybe like a
Eve Valkyrie would be a lot better, because I mean, there's no like, you can have set teams and you can have these small arenas. It's not like, okay, try and get into a wing. Okay, what do we do now? I don't know. We can't share a mission. All right, let's go fly around and maybe look at this combat zone. Like, thanks, Elite. Thanks, Elite, for giving me ultimately nothing to do. This is great. That's why I think Eve Valkyrie would be a much better thing for this sort of thing. I also
it's a far cry better than Arena Commander or whatever the fuck the thing was called.
Jesus. You mean that Elite had? The Elite?
Yes.
Oh, close quarters combat.
CQC.
Which was
CQC.
Just not fun. It was just not. Which also is not fun.
Speaking of recent games, all right, so Orbital Racer, and I'm playing Orbital Racer, and I'm thinking
that's one of my most.
Why did not Frontier put this in CQC?
That's one of my most surprising games of the year, honestly.
Yeah, they had the mechanic like 8 people racing around, flying through rings, but you flew through rings to pick up power ups and stuff, right?
I saw that David Weissman wanted a copy of it, and I'm thinking of gifting it to him, saying, this is what someone did. They took your TIE Fighter ring course and made a really good game out of it. Like a full-on amazing game out of it. So, spoiler, that is one of my most surprising games of the year. I know it's probably the most recent, but that game blew me away with how good it is.
If you want a quick non-space game,
yes, I do.
That I was really, really happy about with this year. The new Sonic game that they came out with.
Oh yeah, I heard that was really good. What's it called? Sonic
Mania.
Yes, I heard that was really good.
You know, if you were ever a fan of like Sonic 1 through 3 back in the day, then this is like exactly a sequel to that, and it's very enjoyable. I have yet to finish it all the way through, but I very much enjoyed it, despite everybody's complaints about the always online crap. I'm just talking about enjoying the game for the game's sake here. Right. It was a fun game, and I was really impressed by it. I was shockingly impressed. I was like, these guys did, and it was a labor of love. You know, it was a group of guys that wanted to make a Sonic game. They went out and did it. They presented it to Sega, and they were like, yes, let's make this a legit official Sonic game. So they got, Sega's approval, and, they went with it. So, and then what's funny is later in 2017, a new official 3D Sonic game came out, and it got shit on pretty hard.
Oh no.
Yes. Hey, so speaking of most surprising game of the year, Hunter and I discovered the most surprising game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It's Pokemon Online MMO.
Oh, yeah. Hold up a second. We just found this.
Wait.
Pokemon Revolution Online. I don't understand how this game exists. I can't even.
Is it? What is it?
Yeah, it's give him a link to it. It's like
admin chat.
It looks like it's branded like Pokemon. They're using the font, right? It's like everything that you would look at this and you would think, man, that's a Nintendo thing, right? And it's like the fact that this is not buried under a cloud of lawyers with machine guns, I don't understand.
Although every effort is made to present current, accurate information, we cannot assume responsibility for information from external links. This is copyright 1995, 2017 Nintendo / Creatures Inc., Game Freak Inc., Pokemon character names are trademarks of Nintendo 2017. But it goes on to say Pokemon Revolution Online neither owns nor claims to own any portion of the Pokemon franchise. But it's just like, how have you not been slapped with a cease and desist? I do not understand how this exists.
I'll have to look into this. This looks fascinating.
This is straight up Pokemon Red and Blue, but an MMO.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then there's another one that's I forget what it's called, but it's another Pokemon MMO, and it actually requires you to have the ROM. So you have to illegally have a ROM on your machine, and then it pulls data from the ROM.
For the record, there are over 1,500 people playing this Pokemon.
Holy garbage!
Throw that out
there. Holy garbage! All right, Spaz, let's wrap up the most surprising with you. What do you have a most surprising space game for 2017?
Spacescape, I've actually got 2 on my list.
Go for it.
And the first one is Heat Signature.
Ah, yes.
Because that came out of nowhere.
It really did.
And I've played a hell of a lot of it.
Yeah, the guy that made Gunpoint before that, which is sort of similar but not really. Right? That was Gunpoint was his previous game, I think. Yeah, and that was also really good. So I was like expecting a good game. You're right, but like what we got was damn.
Yeah, way better than expected. The other one for me on that is Deep Rock Galactic.
I'm going to allow it. It didn't come out, but I'm going to allow it.
Well, it's because it surprised me.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's true. Not that it was released because the early access release isn't until early next year, but it surprised the hell out of me, and we enjoyed the hell out of it.
That game was shockingly good. I will definitely grant you that one. What about a non-space game?
For that, I've got 2 else as well. Bomber Crew, for certain.
Oh yeah, you love that
again. Yeah, I've played many hours of that, and I will continue to play it. The other one, and our stream of it is probably enough indication of just how fun it is.
I think I know where you're going. Yeah, I was about to say it's got to be Gene Shift. That game shocked the hell out of me as well. That's actually one of my non-space. I have 2 non-space surprises also, and that is that was also one of mine because I got it because it's like, oh, it looks like Grand Theft Auto 2. I love Grand Theft Auto 2. Yay. And we're like, this isn't going to be that great because the single player was all right. But then you get there in co-op.
We did it in co-op. We have a backup game just in case it wasn't great, and
didn't need it.
We didn't need it.
Didn't need it at all.
We really didn't.
We had so much fun. We got to get back into it with 4. We got to try and get 4 people.
Do this with 4 players.
Oh my god, because it's so fun. It's so disgustingly fun, folks. Gene Shift is a top-down tactical combat game, and it can play it by yourself. There is a campaign, but you can also play through this campaign and other maps with up to 4 people. And so far, we've only done 2 people, and holy crap, it's so much fun.
Is it kind of like a 3D isometric?
No, it's top down. It's like Grand Theft Auto 2. It's like it's totally top down.
So, did you guys play Door Kickers? It's a bit like that, except it's all real time.
So is it anything like Hotline Miami?
Yes, I would say it's
a little slower paced than that.
I would say close. Yeah, slower pace than Hotline Miami, but you definitely need to die a lot in order to kind of figure out what you need to do right.
So are you doing missions, or is it just a sandbox world when you go multiplayer? I played a little of the single player, and but
you can play the campaign in co-op, which is what we were doing.
Yeah, like just trying to get out of that parking garage and down the first street, I died like 10 times.
Once you get through it, honestly, you have to get used to it. But once you do, it's amazing.
Yeah, once you realize you can't just run around and
even better.
Once you realize you can't run around and shoot everything, but you actually look around corners and plan and stuff, it just gets so amazing.
And then there's the grenades.
Grenades! You're a grenade master, sir.
Yeah, I was grenading like crazy.
I remember, what was it? You killed like 5. I'd never heard you laugh as gleefully as you did in that one stream when you killed like 5 guys by grenading a car, I think.
It grenaded a car, and then it did a chain reaction, blowing up the cars next to that car, and then in a line.
Yeah.
With
killed
extra
a bunch
explosions,
of guys.
which killed off about 5 or 6 guys in just one shot, and it was just insane.
I seriously, folks, I'd never heard Spaz laugh like that. It was amazing. To wrap up, I already said one of my most surprising games was Orbital Racer, which, folks, if you haven't played, it's so good. I mean, it looked good. I thought it would be good, but I did not expect it to be as good as it was. And the game on the stream right now, Starfleet Armada Rogue Adventures, shocked the hell out of me as to how good it was. Like, you look at this, you look at the video, you look at the screenshots, like, what is this? Is this like Starflight? What is like? Is this 1993? What's going on here? But it's such a deep, fun game.
So much going on under the hood.
So much going on. Oh my god, it's crazy amount of stuff going on. But I guess
I do have to toss one honorable mention though.
Sure.
One honorable mention: Icarus Starship Command Simulator.
Yeah, that one was interesting.
That
was the first thing where you walk
around
the ship.
It's like the first person FTL. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great guest too. He was a great, really funny guest.
It's a very good show.
Yeah, my other non-space surprising game was that puzzle game I keep bringing up, Logistical. I don't know if I've told you all about this, but it's
many times.
Yeah, it's a strategy puzzle game where you solve towns on a map by giving them commodities, and it has no fail state, and you can play at your own pace, and it's amazing. I've played many hours just listening to podcasts because it's so weirdly satisfying. I don't understand it, but we have a visitor from FARC. Wow, I didn't know FARC was still around.
Oh, they're still around.
Okay, I haven't been to FARC in a long time. All right, now probably a much more fun topic, our most disappointing games. Jim, should I put you down for Elite?
Sure.
I'm kidding, but seriously, do you have...
Because, well, I mean, there's... I'll go with Elite, because really, it's just like, that's the one that I continue to wait. You know, it's like,
yeah.
Oh, the new patch is coming. This might be the... No. All right, well, what about the next patch? Nope.
Yeah.
So I've just kind of given up. And, you know, if it turns into something someday, great. But I think they're too infected with, like, the vision of, like, we're going to make this game what we want and not what it needs to be. And it's like, well, okay, good luck with that, guys.
Yeah. Do you have a non-space game that you were disappointed in?
I don't know. I mean, it's, but most of them that if it sucked, it got refunded real fast. That's my game of the year, is the refund button on Steam, because
that was actually really funny.
It has paid the bills, believe me. Well, it's nice because, you know, it used to be like, hey, you walk into a retail place and you get a $60 game off the shelf, and boy, you hope it doesn't suck. And then you get home and it turns out it's Descent to Undermountain, and you're stuck with it. All right. And yeah, no more. So that's cool. Because, dude, I don't need 2 hours. I know within 5 minutes whether something's going to get boomeranged or not.
That was the worst feeling, though, where you'd save up for a game for weeks, you'd get it, you'd ride to, like, Egghead Software, put it in your backpack, ride home for half an hour, like, get all excited, and you pop it in, you play it, and you're like, oh, this isn't very good.
So, yeah, so I'm very happy that the market has evolved to that point where we're not stuck with stuff. And, you know, it has also kind of cut down on the amount of rage that's out there, because if we had the Steam situation that we do and there was no ability to refund things, you would have like a shit ton of consumer rage. But people are pretty cool about it. You know, it's like, well, yeah, you can go ahead and shovel all the poop you want, because if it sucks, I'm not going to get stuck with it.
Well, I mean, you still have that refund limit. You can't refund too many games in a year, because then they'll ding you.
But
it's not a rental service,
right? But
well, yeah.
But having the option is really nice.
Still. Well, yeah, and it's not like I play it for 1 hour and 59 minutes and then refund it. You know, it's like, no, it's like, okay, I had this for 10 minutes and it's gone.
Yeah, that was.
And they've never looked at me.
What was that truck game? That like post-apocalyptic truck game we were recommended, and we both bought it, and we were like, this looks great. And then we both refunded it because it was terrible.
Can't remember.
Oh, but you know what I'm talking about.
Either. I'd refunded it.
Yeah,
I refunded it.
You
right
refunded
after
it
launch.
Yeah, you refunded it before we even played it, before we even heard of it, and we were like, "We'll try it. Why not? It might have gotten better." Nope, it had not. I cannot remember the name of it.
Yeah, but you know, that's the thing too, is like it probably has increased sales because people are willing to take a risk on things that they otherwise would not have. So I think a lot of games that otherwise wouldn't have got touched, people bought and were unexpectedly delighted, and were like, "Yeah, I'm so glad I took the risk on that." So it works both ways.
Do you have a I guess the refund button would be your non-space game.
Yeah. I mean that gets the award, right?
Fair enough.
Now,
fair enough.
I would say, well, let's see. Inside was really pretty amazing. If you haven't played that, that's worth it.
What?
Especially now that it's getting cheaper. Inside.
For your most disappointing game?
No, not disappointing. I'm sorry. I was thinking about good stuff again.
No,
we're on maintain some positivity.
We're trying to go back and forth, like good, bad, good, bad.
I know. I forgot.
It's okay.
Yeah, I don't really have anything that I can point the finger at that actually stuck around long enough to disappoint me.
That's good. That's actually really good. What about you, Hunt?
There's a lot of things that weren't what I'd hoped they were, but it
that's
a
good.
lot of that's my failing, right? It's like, oh, I got this. This game's awesome. I know it, but I just really can't focus on it. Kind of.
That's totally fair.
In other words, not the game's fault specifically.
Yeah, not the game's fault, but me, or the situation, or the damn backlog that's begging for attention.
What about you, Hunter? Was there a disappointing space game that you played this year?
Yeah, actually, I'm actually going to go out here, and it's not our traditional type space game. It is more of a sci-fi game. There's some space elements in it, but Star Wars Battlefront 2, I was all about it at first with the campaign, and I was really digging it. And I even streamed a bit of it on our Facebook page, our Facebook group for Space Game Junkie. And I don't know. By the time it was done, and then after, especially after I played the DLC package with the last 3 campaign missions, I was fairly disappointed with it. The best damn level in the entire game is the Luke Skywalker level, where you get to actually play Luke, and that's the frickin' Luke Skywalker that I remember and loved, right? Like that's the one from like that Luke Skywalker attitude's the one from like the Jedi Academy and Jedi Outcast days. Like that's the kind of Luke character that I love to see, and I remember from the books and from the video games of the past, and just with like the rest of the campaign, once I got to the end of it, especially after the last 3 missions, I was kind of like really just not digging it anymore. And there's really nothing left for me for that game because I've got 0 interest in their multiplayer package. I've got 0 interest in anything else beyond that. So I think for me,
so that's one of those deals. If you could have paid $30 just to get the single player and not even have.
Well, right. I didn't pay full price for this game either, which I was thankful for. I only paid about $40 or $45 for it, which is still high. But that Luke Skywalker level was just like the shining light in an otherwise bleak game. If anybody could just play that one level, I'd recommend playing just that one level.
That's kind of sad. It's kind of sad that like there's this one great level surrounded by a bunch of.
There's other like especially early on. There's some other great stuff, and the space combat levels are really good. I mean, they're reminiscent of Rogue Squadron. Like they channel Rogue Squadron hard.
Oh, good.
And so like but the thing is the sad thing about that is like those space missions and the Luke Skywalker mission was reminiscent of better games. And that's what was sad. Like those were good missions and good levels in this game, but that's only a small portion of the whole, and it made me want to play a fuller, better game, which I actually did. I went back through and played Rogue Squadron again. So
there you go.
So yeah, that's my space game disappointment of the year. I think my non-space game disappointment of the year, and the game I quickly ejected from, was Dawn of War 3.
I just got that from the Humble Monthly. And
yeah, well, I'm glad you got it for free because Jesus.
Yeah, and I'm playing the tutorial. It's like, wow, this doesn't seem that great.
Again, I didn't pay full price for that either. I got it for 50% off on GMG like a month after it came out. It was actually the same deal as Mass Effect Andromeda. But shockingly, Mass Effect Andromeda, it was a more enjoyable game than either of those two.
Damn. What about you, Spaz? What about you, Spaz? Did you have a most disappointing space game?
Well, I kind of wavered on whether or not to pick this one because it has gotten better, but it's still not where I would hope for it to be. So that's why it has to make my list, and it's The Long Journey Home.
Dude, that was my pick as well. That was totally my pick as well. Yes.
I wanted to love it because it had so many things that I liked.
Oh, God, yes.
The roguelike element, and then the lander element is what killed it for me, unfortunately.
God, they made it, not only did they make it like super mandatory, they made it like every freaking lander is made of glass. So it's like you're going to either get damage or lose it.
Yep.
You know,
for me, that was a 20-minute.
Oh, God, so frustrating.
That was just like, nope, this is not.
Yeah, Thomas on YouTube is right. It was almost great. Like, if they had made the lander part maybe a little more like Starflight, where it was maybe top down, you know, not as brutally difficult. You know, you could explore a little more. That probably would have been a lot better. But I agree with you 100%. The Long Journey Home was... it's like, once you did one lander mission, it's like they're all almost exactly the same, for one thing. And it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. But you have to do it. It's like you don't have a choice.
Yeah, so the shortest path to Earth is the better Long Journey Home.
I must agree there.
Yeah. I 100%. Absolutely 100%. What about non-space games, guys?
I also agree.
Yeah, right? What about non-space games?
It was hard to pick a non-space game. Nothing really stood out to me as being disappointing. So I guess that's not a bad thing. There were games that I just kind of dropped, but it's not because they were disappointing. It's because I couldn't get into them. So that's on me and not the game.
That's fair. I was going to pick Lux Alliance because it's a good game that is like in an interface or in a program that's like 1994 era program. It's like, what is this?
Okay, if I had to pick one, because our multiplayer attempted that was so horrendously bad.
Oh, God. It was so annoying. Nothing worked. Nothing.
Now, in its defense, the single player is good.
It's very
just
good.
The multiplayer did not work for us.
Yeah, at all. And they really want people to play it multiplayer. It's like they really want people to play it multiplayer, but they don't make it easy at all to play multiplayer. They don't have like their own servers or anything. It's like, how do you play this? You know, how? Oh, God, yeah, that was probably because I think I was disappointed because I enjoyed the single player and I was excited to play multiplayer with you.
Yeah,
and when we ended up not being able to, it was just real. It was almost crushing, like how disappointing that was. Oh, God. All right, let's move on to a happier topic. Jim, what would you say your most played space game of 2017 was?
Shockingly, Elite.
That
I did, man. I put in the
that isn't that shocking.
From afar.
That isn't that shocking. Right. Yeah, no, it's not shocking because you get in there, it's like you get in deeper, then you just the crushing fall is just so much harder once you realize.
It's the thing, it's like I realize like I've spent a week playing nothing but this game. Like I get home from work, I log into Elite, I'm doing this grind thing. Why?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and exactly.
And my thought in this, like the Cobra Mark III, right, which is their flagship. Okay? There's no reason to have one, right? It's an advancement thing, so it's always like, hey, I had this and now I'm past it. I'm into the other thing, and then I want a bigger ship, and then I need a bigger ship. But what I think would fix that is if they gave the ships like some kind of perk for what it does, right? Now they want to leave it generic, so it's like, well, ships don't have a role or whatever, and it's like, okay, but still, It's like if this ship was like the best choice for a particular thing, right? It's like that ship is really good at this. Then there would be a reason to take that and not your giant Star Destroyer, right? It's like there's sometimes that the Millennium Falcon will do, and you don't want to just fly a Star Destroyer around. And I thought, well, maintenance costs would be a thing. Like if you operate a fat ship, then it costs a lot of money, but it doesn't, because there is really no upkeep other than if you get shot at or whatever. So they just haven't come up with a reason to make me want to play in a smaller ship. But I don't feel the need to get a bigger ship either.
Right? Yeah, no, I agree.
I got a middling ship. I have a Python. That's enough. And
I stopped at an Asp. I was like, why do I keep going? Why?
And then the engine, which they say, they're like, well,
they're making it worse.
We're listening to
they're making it worse.
That whole engineer grind is freaking pointless.
Oh, that's what killed it for me. Was that, yep. I think.
And it's just like, there's no way that I want to go out here and like try to scrounge up, like whatever junk, and then take it and play a slot machine. No. I did it with weapons, and it was just like, yeah, this sucks. It was just like, yeah, these guns, they're not really that different. Whatever. So yeah, so just nothing that they have done with that thing. The first year was amazing. Everything after that's been kind of.
I think the first year is because we still didn't have a lot of money, so I think we were all like just flying around in like Cobras, like, oh, we could lose everything in one run, And I'm thinking of
it's like we had fun.
Yeah.
And
I'm thinking of resetting my character if I ever go back to it. Just starting
I did it once.
Oh, did you?
It's not really worth it.
Oh, really?
Because you can simulate that. Just go buy a Sidewinder and just forget that you have money.
I would just do a Cobra. I think I would just do a Cobra.
Yeah. So just buy a Cobra and forget that you have money.
But then what's the point of playing the game if you forget you have money? The whole point's to make money.
Yeah.
But then what?
Honestly, the whole game, it's not even the money; it's the reputation bar, right? It's like I don't have levels. There's nothing in the game that says you can't go here because
all the reputation bar does is open up more expensive missions to make more money. That's all it does.
Or in some instances, a ship, right? Like,
okay,
sure. I can't fly that Imperial cutter because I don't have enough reputation bar. But it's like the process of grinding that reputation bar up is so random that it's just like, I do missions and I hope that the thing goes up. And maybe it does, and then maybe
it goes up a teeny bit
after I've filled the bar. Yeah, but at some point after I filled the bar, then randomly I'll get a mission that's like, "Hey, do you want to do something for the Navy?" Nudge, wink, and it's like, okay, and I do that, and then they're like, "Congratulations, you ranked up," and it's like, but you only got 3 more ranks to go before you get that ship, and it's like,
God damn it!
Exactly. So I'm like 1 away from Baron, and I need to be a Baron in order to get one. And
oh god,
I just don't care.
Yeah. So I'm gonna guess your most played non-space game is probably MechWarrior Online. Absolutely. Is that accurate? Yes.
That's probably the most time that I've put in any game in the last 5 years.
That's impressive because for a while you were really down on that game.
Oh, I still am.
But you were down on it so much you weren't even playing it. You're like really hating on it.
Yeah, well, they changed some things, and
that's
made
good.
It a little better.
So, Hunter, what about you? What would you say is your most played space game?
I'll take a wild guess.
EVE Online.
Yeah, I would say EVE probably got a lot out of me this year. I know we've already talked about it. Mass Effect Andromeda took a good chunk of time. I played a lot of StarCraft 2 this year too, but I would definitely say that the cake goes to EVE Online.
Yeah, which by the way, Joan just walked in the room. She's like, "Are you doing your podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Can you quit talking about Elite? That game's fucking boring." So,
wow. Damn.
From the peanut gallery.
but yeah, I would definitely say that my most played games is EVE Online. As far as my most non-played space game, Windows Solitaire probably takes the cake.
Seriously? Wait, what? Really?
Dude, whenever I'm like watching like a TV show, like sometimes I'll sit in my office and watch on my computer, and I'll just have like solitaire up on the next screen, and I'm playing the shit out of that. I just like something to, like,
you know what? I can't blame
fidget
you
with my hands like while I'm doing like whatever.
Wow. Wait till Grandpa discovers Bejeweled.
No, I can't blame you. The excitement I felt when I discovered that Windows Solitaire is on Android was palpable. I was so excited when I saw that.
I joke, but I'm partially serious on the Windows Solitaire thing. But in reality, my probably most non-played space game would more than likely be Grand Theft Auto 5. I think.
Yeah, put a lot of time in that.
Yeah,
I remember, especially early on in the year.
Yeah, I remember you
not
like
so much in the late year, but
I remember a lot of days you'd be like looking for players, in the Discord chat. You'd be looking for people to join you. So I do recall that.
There was this wonderful moment where Hunter got run over by the train, and
in Grand Theft Auto 5.
Funny.
Oh my God! Yeah, you and Joan were right there.
Oh, you were having a bad night anyway, and like you were like trying to cross the train tracks, and we were doing a mission, and you had cargo that was like $1 million, and just pow, you got hit by the freight train, and you were just like fucking them out, and just bloop, logged off.
I don't think I've rage quit quite as hard as I rage quit that night. Like sometimes you just gotta be like, all right, look, guys, I gotta go walk away for a little while. Like I rage quit so hard, I think I just I just held the power button and like walked out of the room. Like,
oh man!
So
because it had been a night, man. That wasn't like a lone incident. It was just like thing after thing after thing. The game just hated us.
Just walk away at that point.
Ridiculous.
Damn. Well, Spaz, what about you? What would you say your most played space game was this year?
It's a pretty close call between 3 of them, actually.
All right, hit me.
Yeah, Heat Signature, of course. That shouldn't surprise anyone at this point. Astroneer, because I played a lot of that, about 77 hours.
Woo!
And Everspace.
All good picks. I've not played Astroneer yet, but I keep hearing how good it is. But all good picks. All very good picks.
Did they ever get any kind of opposition into that game yet? Like, are there any?
I don't think so.
In Astroneer, no. Yeah. There are hostile fauna that will, a hostile flora that will attack you if you get too close. But
there's like the brain coral that farts gas. And stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's stuff that will kill you if you destroy it. It will put out this noxious gas that will kill you if you're too close. But for the most part, it's my Zen game though, so I'm totally okay with that.
That's fair.
And that lines up really well with Deep Rock Galactic, because they're very similar games. When you
really?
Like through the cave and digging and stuff, yeah. Except
you don't have
bugs and stuff, but
right, you don't have hostile fauna in Astroneer, at least not as of this point. But you also don't have any sort of weapons aside from the terrain deformer, which you remove the soil underneath the plant, it disappears basically. But it's so fun.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's like a Zen garden of a game.
All right. What about your non-space game?
Non-space, well, Monster Slayers definitely has to make that list, because I've played so many hours of that, dozens of hours. And more recently, Air Mech.
Which one?
Wasteland and Strike. Between the two of them, I have about 160 something combined hours.
Wow.
And Wasteland just came out last month, and I've got 139 hours in that already. Whew. So yeah,
that's damn. I guess for me, sorry, go ahead.
Well, that made me think of something, right? So I need to amend, right? So I would say my most surprising and game that actually held my attention for a long time and continues to. It's like I'm afraid to touch it because I lose a whole day every time I do. Is
sure.
Cogmind.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah, that game just pushes my buttons for some reason. I want to see the flip side of it. I want to see Cogmind as like Dungeon Keeper. So you're running the complex, not just like the rogue robot running around trying to not get killed, but the other way around, where you're trying to manage it, almost like Dwarf Fortress, which I've suggested to him, and it probably won't happen, but someday maybe.
Well, for me, shockingly, my most played space game, I actually had to force myself to stop playing it because it was still in early access for a while, was 3030 Death War Redo. Because that game just has such a fun cycle of mission, money, mission, story, mission, money, mission, story. And it really hits all the right buttons. And it's so fun and funny.
It's like what I've said is like, that's the game that Elite wished it was.
Oh, God, right.
It absolutely does everything that I wished that Elite did. Absolutely.
And it does so much. There's like racing. There's like... You can hunt for derelicts. There's actual piracy,
well, and it puts the carrot on the stick. It keeps it there. If you get bored doing one thing, you go do something else.
Just do another thing.
Multiple carrots. Right?
Yeah.
So you're not just chasing one thing. You're not chasing money. You're not chasing a reputation thing. There's actually NPCs.
You're unlocking the map.
You're
unlocking the map. You're following story leads. You're doing all this. You're finding things in derelicts. You're rescuing people in derelicts. All kinds of stuff. So great.
All those elements are there in Elite, right? Like the whole oh, there's a derelict here. Let's stop. Well, what'd you get? Oh, I got some engineering stuff. Whatever, right? But it's not like, hey, I discovered a guy, and then he's going to give me a mission, or he's going to give me a treasure map, or God knows.
Yeah.
What, right? There's no reason.
It just keeps feeding you things to do. Yep. Whereas Elite, it's like, okay, I guess I'll do this now. I guess. Fine.
So honestly, if I could get, I don't even care about 3D. I just want an MMO that is like 3030 Death War or Transcendence or something simplistic, top-down space trader game. Just do it, right? It'd be and like for. If you want to like have run around in the ship kind of stuff like FTL or whatever, then do it like
I think that's what Epic Space Online is trying to go for, but I don't think it's anywhere near done. Yeah. So keep an eye on that one.
Best of luck to them.
Yeah. My most played non-space game is Lord of the Rings Online. I got into it late.
Surprise.
Yeah, I got into it late last year around Thanksgiving, and I have almost 100 hours into it, which for me, with my attention span, is a lot. It's rare that I stick with a game more than a few hours, and that game has just kept me going throughout the year. I love it. Love it. Now, this next category is a weird one. We could skip it if you like. Quickest game to be refunded. What do you guys think of this category? Do you have any games for it, or should we skip it?
I don't know if it was this year, but whatever it was that Jim and I refunded. What game was that?
Oh, yeah, that was
Battle Right?
Battle something. That game that came out like the same day as
Overwatch or whatever.
Overwatch, yeah. And
was that this year?
Nope.
No, I think it was last year, but still, I don't think I've ever refunded a game. I haven't refunded a game this year, but like, if there was ever a game that I refunded quick, it was that.
Oh, dude, it was like 10 minutes, and we were just like, nope. Yeah, which was sad. I mean, it was a Gearbox thing, right? And it had all the fixes.
Battleborn?
Yeah, Battleborn.
Yeah, that was it. I'll add it to the list for you guys. Because that's, I remember you guys really negatively talking about that one. Spaz, do you have any games?
I actually have one. I got one.
Go for it.
Resrog.
Wait, what is it called? What?
Resrog.
Resrod?
REZROG. Resrog.
Yeah, it was that paper dungeon looking.
I don't even remember that one.
Yeah, well, the reason I refunded it is because in order to get through the game, you have to play through the beginning adventure with each of the characters in order to unlock them. And if they die, well, you're screwed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm taking that off my wish list.
It's I cannot recommend it.
Wow. It certainly looks like the type of game. Oh, wow. The reviews are insanely negative for it. Wow.
Yeah, someone actually did say in their review that you can lose all your heroes in Dungeon 2 out of 100. And yes, that is actually possible.
That's terrible. That's
permadeath, huh?
It is permadeath, yeah.
Oh, man. Why would you play it? Why would you? That's... Oh, my God. Oh.
I don't refund that many games, honestly speaking.
Right.
It's maybe 3 or 4 in a year out of all the games I buy.
Yeah, I didn't refund many either. Yeah, I didn't refund many either. I refunded Precursors. That came out on Steam earlier this year. But with the Russian translation, like it wasn't in English at all. So I refunded that as quickly as I could. $15 for nothing, basically. And I refunded Nex Machina, which was a shame because I loved Smash TV, but it would not run on my machine at all. Like it actually blue screened my computer hard. Like even after I got it from...
Did you get it in the Humble Bundle?
I did. I tried it again and it did not want to run well. Like it ran, but it like for some reason after I got it to run, it made my computer stop seeing my video card.
That's funky.
Weird, right? So, yeah, I uninstalled it, but I refunded it initially because, wow. So second to last category. Which games from this year do you think you'll be playing well into 2018? Jim, do you have anything for that? Space or non-space?
No, not really.
Totally fair. What about...
I'm still waiting on the thing.
Oh, no, we actually have 2 more categories after this. Oh, yeah, which you're probably not going to get. Hunter, do you have any games from this year that came out this year that you think you'll be playing long into next year?
You know, I'm not 100% sure. I wouldn't say long into next year. I got to finish up Andromeda, but other than that,
totally fair.
Like
yeah.
There's stuff I'll go back and touch periodically, but I don't see it being like this is going to be my game for the next 3 months. You know, it's my go-to. Not really. Although, Dungeons 3
Eve Valkyrie. Really, I mean, the non-VR version of Eve Valkyrie.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
That's fair. Yeah, because we'll probably return to that.
Yeah.
To touch it since.
What was that?
Just because I said as much fun as we had playing it, I don't have any urge to go back and mess with it like alone, right? Like if we had a group that was going to do it, I'd be like, hell yeah, let's do it. But to just fire that up alone, not a chance. It's like the experience of playing it with others is what's compelling, not the game itself to me.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Spaz, anything for you?
Astroneer for sure. Everspace is probably going to be on that. I'm assuming they're going to put out more DLC at some point.
I hope so.
Yeah, I intend to return to that when there's more content. Because right now I've gone through most of the side missions in the current DLC, but hopefully there will be more for me to play around with later.
And what about non-space?
Non-space, Bomber Crew, because there is more DLC definitely coming for that. They have more planned. I even got the season pass because I have so much faith in what they're coming out with. And of course, Air Mech. Yeah.
Good choices. Good choices. I think for me, it's going to be Orbital Racer because, God, that game is good. And I want to get good enough with the arcade mode that I could actually maybe try the simulation mode. Have you guys played Orbital Racer, by the way?
Yep.
Yeah.
Simulation mode's no joke.
I know. I feel like I need to work up to that.
Fair.
because even arcade mode is no joke. And the AI will give you such a good run. You know, I could, even though it has no multiplayer, I'm fine with that. Just give me more tracks. Or more, just give me more tracks. I'm fine with that. Give me more races, give me more events. I'm good with that. I think the other one I'll be playing into 2018 is Starpoint Gemini Warlords. Because
good choice.
Because it's such a huge game, and I want to explore its universe more. It's really a great game. Just, I want to fly around, do some missions, and get into trouble. That's a great game for that. That's a great game
play
for
as a
that.
pirate.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck some shit up.
That DLC, man. Oh, so many options.
Oh my god.
Especially playing as a pirate, because it changes the game entirely.
Or playing as an alien, which even changes the game more. No diplomacy anymore. You can't
board anybody.
You can't board anyone. You can just capture ships and eat them, basically. And you can't make any friends. No friends for you. Everyone hates you. Great.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll be coming out with more DLC for that. They've been putting out fairly every few months, so hopefully that game will get more life to it. But that is a great game.
Yeah. Solid choice.
For non-space, clearly logistical. I mean, they're just going to keep that developer. Oh my god, he keeps. I think one or two more modules are coming out this week. I think we're getting Russia this week. And next year, we're going to get Logistical Earth, which is going to be kind of like an more abstracted type of logistical, where you can move things around, not just in one country, but like all over the globe. So that'll be fun. So yeah, those are, I think, going to be my GOAT, unless something really amazing comes out in 2018, like fucking Limit Theory or something. I think those will be like my go-tos. Yeah, I know. Excuse me.
That Zombicide game, because they just came out with DLC for that today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just today. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I was like, I had to get the DLC.
It's so hard.
I haven't
it's
really
so hard.
put enough time into the base game, right? Because it's just like, that's one of those games where there's so much crap going on, and there's like this steady thing going up the side of like this faction and that faction, and made an alliance. This faction got wiped out, and it's like I haven't even figured out how to participate in that stuff yet. I'm just out there like whacking zombies and trying to not get overrun.
I die so fast. I made it like the expansion gives you a new class, the Bard. So I tried that. I loaded a Bard up. I died in like 4 seconds. Like, oh look, there's another NPC from another faction. Womp womp, dead. Oh, well, guess they don't like me.
So the answer to that is we need to play in co-op.
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone get the expansion and we'll play in co-op. That's a great idea. I'll put it on the calendar for some point.
Yeah, I mean, you and I, Brian, we tried it once, and
wasn't
it was
still
very early in.
It still early access when we tried it, and it wasn't that great. Yeah, but it's fully released now.
It's not that it wasn't great. It's just there was still more to do polish wise before you could really penetrate the game. That's okay. I mean, they got it. They got it going.
Yeah, it has more layers to it than Drox. Because of the you have to fortify your town and everything. And I still haven't fully wrapped my brain around that yet. We should see if we could like do a co-op where we're all the same faction and like work on our town. Oh, yeah, we should do that.
That's what we were doing when we tried it earlier.
Oh.
So we can do that again, and this time maybe one person can sort of defend the town while the others go out and adventure or quest. So yeah, right. I mean there's options for that.
Yeah, well, remind me. I'll put it on the calendar at some point, or maybe I'll just put it in the hat. We'll figure it out. But yeah, that sounds like one we definitely need to touch. So the next category, this is kind of an odd one, but I thought it might be fun to talk about. What do you think is the best early access story? By that I mean, like, what's a game that came out in early access this year? It didn't have to be released, but like it's had a good year. It's had good updates. It's moved forward well due to its development. It's got good progress. It's getting good word of mouth. So, do you guys have any, like Jim? Do you have any thoughts on what's maybe a good space or non-space game that's had a good early access story for 2017?
Not really, because I'd be playing it.
Well, you have been. I mean, you've been playing a lot of early access games, like
a lot of what?
Early access games.
Well, I'm saying I've been playing a lot of early access games, but like dabbling, right?
Oh,
you know, it's just like, oh, let's fiddle with this. Yep, not ready yet. That kind of deal.
Well, like
it hasn't really been a good year for me in games because there's been a lot of volume, but actual quality has been kind of hit and miss. And then even the stuff that's like super interesting, I don't know if I'm just burnt out or what, but it's just like nothing holds my attention. Even stuff that's just like, my God, I can't believe this is out. I can't buy that fast enough. And then it's like a couple of days later, it's just like, okay, well.
I'm surprised you didn't pick, like, one of my choices was Helium Rain. And I'm honestly surprised.
That was on mine as well.
Well, Helium Rain's awesome, right? But again, I see the potential that's there, but the actual game ain't there yet. So it's kind of
right. But we're talking about how well it's gone through early access this year so far. Like, can you see the game coming down the pike? You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's got a lot of potential. I would say Helium Rain is one of the ones that I invested the most hope in. You know, I spent a lot of time talking to the dev, and to the point where we gave it its own channel because I wouldn't shut up. And it's
well deserved.
I think it's
well deserved. Yeah.
And I think it's because I'm so damn desperate for something to fill that niche, and it's like, this is the closest thing. So it's like, my God, you know, whatever I can do to make that happen, because somebody's got to do this.
What about you, Hunter? Any early access games that you think have really done a good job pushing their game forward this year?
Empyrean.
Very good choice. Very good choice. Yes, excellent.
Empyrean has made leaps and bounds and strides this year alone.
It really has. It really, really has. Excellent choice.
And then I've got one more, and I'd say Osiris has come along pretty nicely this year. I haven't dabbled with it as much as I had maybe like say Empyrean, but it's definitely made some quite a few.
We need to return to it.
Yeah, we really.
That also made my list, and we definitely need to return to it at some point.
Now, I can't remember. Remind me. Hold on. Let me see if I can find out real quick. Hold on. Well, one other one. Oh, Pulsar.
Oh
yeah.
Oh, excellent choice. How did I forget about Pulsar?
So I think those three, and quite interestingly enough, Pulsar and Osiris are very much like team building, team working together type games. I mean, you can play both of them independently and by themselves, but realistically speaking,
they're nowhere near as fun. Yeah.
I mean, Empyrean too, but like
the co-op is where it's
Pulsar. Yeah, the co-op with Pulsar and Osiris is pretty dominant.
Right. Good choices. Do you have any non-space early access games you're really impressed by from this year?
I can't really put my head on one.
That's fine.
Right off the top. I mean, I could say PlayerUnknown, but like that game just like it came to a point where I realized I'm not going to play this anymore, so I'm not really interested. But I guess I mean they've made a lot of strides in where they're going with it, so I mean, good for them.
They're about to get a kill camera apparently. Woo!
Oh yay! Who cares?
Then you'll know who's cheating.
Yeah. Well, that's more so for them than it is for me because I really don't care.
That's probably for the streamers. Probably.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, every time we've played that, it's like I'll get killed, and I'm like, where the hell did that come from? And now I'll know.
I guess
I spent so much time dying. I would like some reward for it, you know. So at least I get to see the guy kill me. I get to see how dumb I looked. Like I'm totally hidden. I'm invisible behind this. Oh shit! No, I'm huge. And, yeah. It's like
I said, I guess it just doesn't really. It just doesn't do anything for me. It really doesn't. Um, I'm trying to think if there's really any non-space games that I've really delved into this year that were in early access, and I don't really think there were many that caught my eye, unless. Well, no, I can no, I got nothing. No, I got nothing.
That's fair. That's fair. Spaz, we've already apparently covered a couple of yours, Helium Rain and Osiris. What else you got?
Astroneer also fits in that list because it is still in early access.
True enough.
They just came out with a huge update to research. In fact, that was just yesterday, I think. And that is, it's a huge improvement. Though cool. For Hunter's list, I would have to say Space Beast Terror Fright, considering how much we've played it. Oh. And it is still in early access.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That they have come a long way with that one.
This is true. I was also
I also had Pulsar and Osiris, as mentioned earlier. But for my non-space, Dead Cells.
Really?
Yeah.
I keep hearing how good that game is.
It is so good. It is very, very good for a Metroidvania roguelite.
Yeah, I keep hearing nothing but good things about it. I keep meaning to pick it up once it gets below my threshold.
Also worth mentioning, of course, is Airmech, since that is also early access at this point.
Fair enough. That is true.
Well, 139 hours played since it released, so it's got to be good. Yeah, I wouldn't be playing it otherwise.
Well, we already talked.
I don't know. I just one came to mind. I don't know if I've really touched it much this year, but looking at the updates for it, I guess Subnautica got quite a bit.
That's true. That's true. It did.
As a non-space game.
That's true. It's a great game.
It's a non-space game that feels like a space game.
It really does. It really does. It really does feel like a space game. It's so good. I can't play it though, clearly, but it's really good. You guys have covered most of the games I was going to talk about. I was also going to mention Avorion and Lightspeed Frontier. Both of those have really moved forward through early access very well. Both of the developers are in our Discord, and they are both great. For non-space, I was going to recommend Parkitect. I don't know. Have you guys played Parkitect at all?
I have not.
Cannot say that I have.
Well, I just got it about a few weeks ago, and it's like I wanted to like Planet Coaster, but it's more about building rides and not about managing the park. The park management tools are really terrible, and I like optimizing a park. Like I want to make sure all my guests are happy with all their benches and all the food and all the maintenance people and all the, you know what I mean? And Planet Coaster really is not good at any of that. It's great at building rides and making very pretty parks, but that's it. Whereas Parkitect really gets the optimization, the business part of a park management game. I mean, it's got the building and everything if you want to do that, but that's not what I prefer. I prefer like placing a ride and then like placing all these little amenities around the ride so people get off the ride like, oh, they want to drink, or oh, they have to go to the bathroom, it's right there, So I love that, and they've really been coming along really well. They just hit beta about a month ago, and I think they're going to go into full release next year, and it's really coming along nicely. So I think our final category might be our toughest. Favorite podcast of the year. We had a lot of great shows this year, y'all. It's really hard to pick just one. I actually picked 3 because I couldn't pick just one. I have a winner and 2 runner-ups. But you guys first. Jim, do you have a favorite show that we did this year?
I don't know. There was a couple of them that were really great. I mean, I love having the What the hell game was that? I can't remember game names, Brian. It's so hard.
Tell me about.
There are so many.
Tell me
6,000 plus were released this year.
Oh my god! Right?
Hold on, I'm looking through the list. This was not so long ago, right?
I could come back to you if that's cool. I'll come back to you. Hunter, what about you? Do you have any picks?
Yeah, I think it should go without saying. We've mentioned it a few times already, but the special podcast we did with the Eve Valkyrie lead developer on that Saturday, I think that was a fantastic show that we did. Even though it wasn't part of the main Tuesday night shows, it really stands out because of just how really engaging that. Not to say that other developers aren't, but like the lead developer of Eve Valkyrie was so engaging,
so funny,
and
so great.
And he was so involved and interested in what we thought, and just the and being able to play with him and have him show us around to different. So it was an experience that we don't often get. Because usually it's just talking about the game where we're really focused on just our conversation with the developer, and that's not a bad thing. It's just we don't often get such a visually like lively show. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it was really good.
Yeah, that was a great show.
So I got it.
Go ahead.
So, having the Astrox guy on.
Oh, just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
He's
227.
And then let's see. It was the two guys, right? So there was the one guy, it was Mark Baldwin who worked on
Starfleet. Starfleet, yeah.
Right. But I mean, like, his old game was Empire.
Empire, yeah.
The first one. Yeah. Okay. So it was him, and then wasn't it his friend that was Tom
Robertson?
Yeah,
his friend. No, Tom Robertson was another guy. His friend was God, I can't remember his name now, but he also came on to talk about Empire.
He was the guy that did the Starfleet roguelike thing, right?
No, that's a different guy.
Because I was thinking Starfleet Armada Rogue Adventures was that guy.
No, it's a different guy.
It was, because it was actually the guy that came on to talk about that old space game, the old X-Wingy thing.
Oh, the old X-Wingy thing? Oh, Star Crusader.
Yeah, Star Crusader.
See, that was my favorite.
That and the other guy was they were like the two guys that worked together, right?
No. Kind of, Mark Baldwin was a different guy. He worked on Starfleet 1 and 2 back in the 80s. And he had a friend who worked, I can't remember his name, sadly, but he worked on the Empire games who he had on later. But the Star Crusader game, that guy's like FJ something. But he also...
He was last to have on.
Oh, he worked at Microprose and everything? Yeah, that was my favorite show too because of all that. I mean, Star Crusader is a great game. But the fact that like he slipped in, I worked at Microprose, and we're like, wait a minute. Record scratch. Hold on a second. You worked at one of the best gaming studios in the history of gaming? We have to talk about that.
Well, that and I enjoyed just the whole experience of Freelancer Online, right? And the mod stuff, Discovery Freelancer.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah,
I didn't get to be on that show, but it's just it's shocking to me that game not only still exists, but has expanded as much as it's like they've managed to overstuff that thing with a whole lot of functionality that it was never meant to have.
Right. It's really just coming along nicely. I really hope that other freelancer thing, Free Worlds, turns out well.
Yeah. And I think it's a symptom not of great love for Freelancer, but the lack of anything else that fills that.
That's true. I mean, you have some ARPGs and some other things, but like nothing really fills. Like, it's funny. Freelancer created its own hole, and nothing has filled it. Nothing has filled that Freelancer hole but Freelancer.
Yep.
Spaz, what about you? Do you have a favorite show from this past year?
Episode 209. which was Icarus Starship Command Simulator. That was a big standout for me.
Oh, that guy was great. Yeah, that guy was great. That's one of my runner-ups, actually. That's one of my runner-ups, actually. Star Crusader's my top, but yeah, the Icarus podcast was, that guy is so funny, and it's great when you get a developer on who doesn't take things too seriously, because we're talking about games, you know. I mean, how serious can you get? But he was a blast. You're absolutely right. He was a blast.
My runner-up on that was episode 226, which turned into our roguelike adventures discussion.
That was a fun one. That one was all over the place, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
I think my runner-up episode was the episode we did with Joe from Upper Memory Block Podcast, where we did Star Wars,
the X-Wing series.
Yeah. He's always good to have on, especially to talk Star Wars games.
So. Yeah. Have you talked to him about the new movie yet?
I have not. Listen, I was talking to Jim about this earlier. No, seriously. Side tangent for a second. You want to talk about some of this stuff? I've just gotten, and I think a lot of us have just gotten so jaded about this stuff. There's just the fandom on things has become so ridiculous that, you know, we've got our own expectations that sure, maybe we just need to swallow in order to enjoy what we've been presented. But at the same time, it's just kind of all right, you know, I'm not going into this with any high expectations, because the culture is just so inundated with this nerddom, and it's not a bad thing. It's just, you know, you grew up in a certain way where we're just kind of like you and a couple others, but then when, you know, they're making this stuff for the majority instead of the minority, it kind of becomes less interesting, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, it's like Star Wars was Star Wars and you came to it, but now they're bringing Star Wars to you. And it's like, well, no, I don't need you to make it fit me. It's like, just let it be what the hell it is, right? But okay, so it's the Star Wars that hype culture out there, because it used to be we were excited because there was a new Star Wars, right? And it was like the movie was great, and that's why we liked it. Well, now we're excited because Star Wars, right? And then the movie is a secondary thing. And it's like, well,
what was it? What was that? I saw I guess Red Letter Media was talking about this, or somebody I was watching recently talk about it, where they said it's crazy because you'll have the Star Wars celebration. You have 50,000 people that go into this convention center, and you get Kathleen Kennedy up there banging on a podium like it's some political rally, and they're like, "We're going to show you the trailer for the next movie," and everybody loses their minds. They go ape shit. And then the movie comes out, and then you have this you know, even this was the Force Awakens, Rogue One, you know, this isn't, you know, the first time this has happened. And then it's just these mad mixed reviews of just hatred and love and hate and love. And it's just kind of, in Star Wars isn't the only IP anymore that is like that. There's so much, and I'm just kind of you know, I can't, it's hard for me to get excited when I go into it knowing what to expect, which is not a lot.
Well, the thing that I look at is the first three movies, right? 4, 5, 6, they went in a direction. There was a definite arc to those. And it was Luke starts out, and then Luke has his middle phase where he has the oh shit.
Yeah, they're almost down and out. Yeah. And
yeah.
And then there's the redemption. And then the same thing could be said about the prequel trilogy. I mean, as bad as movies those were, from a storytelling perspective, it had its arc as well.
It did. But the problem was there was so much distraction along the way. And if you watch the Phantom Edit versions of those, it streamlines all that bullshit out, and it's a good movie. Right.
Well,
and
so to get off the tangent, really, it's just I haven't really had a chance to talk to Joe about it, and I would love to, but it's just kind of one of those things where it is what it is.
Yeah, but the second movie here, the first movie set up a bunch of stuff
Well,
and it tossed the arc in the first, and then the second movie tossed everything from the first one. So it's just each thing validates the one.
Well, I just don't want us to get into spoiler territory for
people
who really
be careful
and haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I'm just like Jim does make a good point. Like there's just a lot of things that were set up in the first one that literally do not even begin to be addressed in the second one, or they weren't just addressed. They were just like thrown. Yeah, this is a great example of Lost. Like, what's the deal with the smoke monster? Oh, there is no smoke monster. It's just kind of like
the smoke monster.
Yeah. So anyway.
Someone on YouTube
it's one of those things.
Someone on YouTube just called us all assholes for defending the prequels. Like
I wasn't defending them. I was making a point. They're shit. Don't get me wrong, but there is a beginning, middle, and end that makes more sense than the shit that we're getting now. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they're good. I'm not defending them. That's all I'm saying is polished turd's still a turd, but it's more polished than the fucking Last Jedi.
That's fair. I was just
Rogue One would actually be the best Star Wars movie of the decade. That's my call. I'm gonna say it.
Well, we're getting another one in May.
Apparently. We got another one coming. So we got 2 more years. So hang tight.
Yeah.
My other runner-up, the one we haven't talked about, is episode 205, Remnants of the Precursors.
Ooh, that was a good one.
That was a good one. That guy is serious about 4X games. Ray, serious about. Yeah, he's gonna have a free-to-play, free-to-own Master of Orion 1 clone called Remnants of the Precursors. That's actually quite good. And he was saying like how it's gonna be the best game ever and stuff like that. And he's probably not wrong in a lot of ways. But yeah, that was a favorite of mine because he was very vibrant, that one.
Oh yes.
Very, very vibrant. And that is our last category, you guys. Well done. We kept fairly on track.
Okay. Also, sorry. I'm gonna take us off track just one more time.
Oh no!
the Han Solo movie comes out in May. That's 5 months from now, and we have yet to get a trailer for it.
Really? It's that soon? No, it isn't.
Solo, a Star Wars story, release date May 25th.
I bet you it'll get delayed. I bet you.
On right here.
Because if we haven't seen a trailer for it.
By the way, Solo, a Star Wars story. Can we get better names for our standalone films, please? Can we stop? Call it Rogue One? Don't call it a Star Wars story. Stop calling them a Star Wars story.
Yeah, I don't understand. You don't need to do that.
We know.
We get it.
We fucking know. I hate to go. I'm raging. We know.
Or just call it Star Wars : Rogue One. That'd be fine too. Don't even do that. Don't even do that. Okay.
Just call it Rogue. That's what the fans call it. No one calls it. Hey, did you guys see Rogue One, a Star Wars story? No one says that. They just say, "Hey, have you seen Rogue One yet?" Oh my god.
Wow.
Sorry.
Yeah, but they did treat it differently because it didn't get the music at the beginning. It didn't have the crawl.
It's true.
Like the things, right? So it was like it wasn't like the official. It's just like a side.
But you know what? Even all the side things throughout history have had the title crawl. Like all the video games that were side things all had title crawls.
That's
like
true.
everything
TIE
up
Fighter,
until Rogue One
X-Wing,
had they all had title crawls regardless of whether it was part of the saga or not. It just had the name of game and then title crawl.
Maybe that's why Disney bought Fox, so they can get that Fox music back at the front.
Apparently Thomas on YouTube is saying that the movie has had production difficulties, reshoots, the director got fired, he tried to make a comedy epic.
That's true. Yeah, so there was a tag team duo who was trying to make it into like a Dumb and Dumber like Han Solo movie.
Kind of movie.
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was bad. And so then they got from fucking Andy Griffith's show to like direct the new one.
What?
Whatever his name is.
Oh jeez. Okay. Well, I bet you it'll be delayed. Which fine.
Yeah.
Ron Howard, that's the guy. Ron Howard.
I would rather
Clint Howard's brother. You know the
Clint Howard's brother.
Clint Howard.
Clint Howard's brother. Of course, I love Clint Howard.
You know, You live in a B culture like us when we reference. Hey, yeah, it's being directed by Clint Howard's brother.
He was
like, oh yeah.
Clint Howard was great in those 5 minutes of Austin Powers. He was amazing in that one scene.
Or his
that one episode of Star Trek. Yeah, as a child actor.
I hope you relish it as much as I.
I loved him in The Wraith. I thought he was excellent in The Wraith.
The Wraith?
He had this awesome like Beavis and Butthead hairdo. Do you remember that, Jim? Like,
was that Charlie Sheen movie, The Wraith?
Yes.
He was in that? No.
Yes.
What?
In Hicks. He was in
what? Oh my God.
976 Evil.
Oh jeez. Oh, Cliff Howard. I love you.
He was in so many of those movies. When you went into Blockbuster and you went to the back wall where all the forgotten like horror shit was. Yeah, Clint Howard was all over that back wall.
Good old Clint Howard. Anyway, like I said earlier, folks, this is the last show of 2017. 2017 has been
going out with a bang.
2017 has been a really great year in a lot of ways, and I want to thank you all especially for listening, for watching, for subscribing, for following, for engaging with us on wherever you engaged us with, YouTube, Facebook, Discord. We are nothing without the people who listen and who talk to us. So
and thanks for those who didn't bail out when Patreon had their moment of stupid.
We did lose a few people, but hopefully they'll come back now that they've reversed that decision. But yes, but thank you so much for listening to us throughout the year. We will be back on January 2nd with the Treese Brothers to talk about Star Traders Frontiers. We're very excited about that. That's currently in early access space combat and trading game, which is really good. They've made a lot of great games. Templar, Battle Force, and a bunch of others. So we're going to have them on January 2nd. So we'll be back in a couple of weeks. So everyone have a really happy holiday season and a very fun, festive, and safe new year. Sorry.
I got something I want to add too. This one's for you, GOG, good old games. Can you guys do me a big old favor and just like import all of the Star Trek games that have come out in years past?
That'd be a great Christmas present. That'd be a great Christmas present.
Put them in your library, please, because I really want them.
I just want Klingon Academy, but I take them all. But I take all of them, especially Klingon Academy. But yeah, even
since we're not getting any new ones,
even put on
Klingon Academy to run. Call us.
We did figure that out. Some guy made some patches. We got it to run. We played it multiplayer. It wasn't fun in multiplayer because there's nothing to do. You need like 10 people to make it fun in multiplayer, so we didn't like it. What do you... What? Anyway.
I was just teeing up another for somebody to say elite behind me.
But I would also love if like even the old text adventures and the old adventure games, like give us all that. Give us all of that stuff, like all the RTSs, all the adventure games, even stuff like Borg and the game show. No,
seriously.
I would take all of it. All of it. Even give me the game show. Give me the goddamn game show with Q. I would buy that on GOG. For God's sake.
New Worlds.
Yeah. Oh God, New Worlds.
New Worlds is horrible.
Oh God.
Maybe we'll make the one exception.
Maybe don't.
Yeah, we could leave that one out of the library.
If you don't get that one working, that's all right. I would take Klingon, yeah, just give me all that stuff. So everyone, yes, thank you so much for listening throughout the year. 2018 also looks to be a great year for space gaming. There's a lot in early access that's going to come out next year. So yeah, thank you so much for being as awesome as you are, for keeping us going, and we hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and we'll see you in 2018. Have a great one, folks. Good night.